G'day everyone, and thanks for stopping by. This one's going to be a quick video just about some issues I've recently encountered in relation to a new telescope setup that I've got. I've been into astronomy for a little while now, but just recently purchased myself a new mount, an EQ6, Skywatcher EQ6, which has been a bit of an upgrade from the celestron Celestar 8 C8 Deluxe, which I've got. Nice mount and all that sort of stuff, but what I'm planning on doing is pulling the C8 off the or deforking it and sticking it on the EQ6. I've got a number of refractors and a little C6 over there as well that I'm looking to use for a bit of imaging. And on the journey, what I'm originally planning on doing is just using the NextImage solar system image that I've got there. There's the image there on the box. Basically because I purchased that ages ago, yonks ago, and never got around to using it. I quickly realised the mounts I had weren't particularly useful as far as imaging goes, and I'm sure I could have done it with the mount that the C8 originally come on, but I'm starting to put a kit together so I can actually get around to doing some imaging. Anyway, getting to the point. There's a bit of a trick with relation to getting this installed, and this is all stuff that I've garnered from the website. I'm going to try and put it all together in one space, so it's just handy if somebody's going to run through the same issues as me. I'll try and annotate or put in the notes down the bottom, at which point I'm talking about the NextImage here. Now, one of the other things I'm also going to talk about is this auto guide that I've got. Picked it up for less than a few $100, just second hand. As you can see, it's well used. The ST4 port on the back, and I'm going to use that for guiding the EQ6. That being said, this is also older equipment that still has a little bit of support running around, but obviously because it's not new, drivers are fairly distant between updates, etc. So there's a little bit of a trick to actually get this installed and running on Windows 7 as well. Of course, not only do you need the QHY drivers, you also need the ASCOM drivers as well. And I'm going to show you what actually worked for me. Obviously your mileage may vary, but hopefully this will come in use to somebody or anybody who's following the same path and needs to install either of these devices. Now I've installed these on several different PCs. The desktop, which you see back there she is. And excuse the mess, I'm actually in the process of moving, and I've got an old Acer PC there, and I can't remember what the other one is over there, but anyway, this Dell laptop you see in front of you, D830, was just recently gifted to me, and so I'm actually just done a fresh install there, a Windows 7. I didn't actually realise that the PC was a 64-bit, so I've only installed 32-bit Windows 7 on it. I may get around to chucking the 64-bit in. For as far as compatibility goes and ease of installation of all the other stuff, again, because this is older equipment, I expect it's probably going to have less issues chucking in on a 32-bit system. PC originally did have XP on it. I considered using that, but I'm used to Windows 7 now, know how it works, and I've successfully put it on the other PCs that have Windows 7, so I know where I'm at with this. The reason I'm putting it on the new PC here, or not new, second hand, this is a fairly old PC as well. PCs don't need to be, or the laptops, whatever you're using it, don't need to be the latest and greatest to run this software. So everything installed on the compact OK. Took it out the front to give the QHY5 a bit of a run. And that was after I had figured out what drivers and platforms and all sorts of different business that I had to get set up and running, and it worked, at least as far as I could get the Pushy Dummy 2, PhD 2, to recognise the camera, to connect and do everything that it needed to do. Problem was, when I started to refresh the screen, or to get it to loop the video, which you need to do with this to actually select a guide star, and I was trying all different exposures and different loop times. What would happen was the screen would just go completely white, it would look like it was going okay, but then the screen would just go completely white and I wouldn't see anything, and it wouldn't change from that. I'd disconnect the camera, reconnect the camera, and again, it'd look like it'd start to work, and then the whole screen would go white. I thought it was an issue either with the camera or the software or the drivers or something like that, but what I ended up finding out was I then went and installed it onto the Acer again, over there. Here we go. Again, which is a slightly more updated laptop than this one. Again, still a fair age though, a little bit more RAM though installed. And what I actually found was that one actually started to work. So it was actually the laptop wasn't up to spec enough to be able to support the refreshing. I could see that the camera light was flashing every time it was updating the image for me, but the screen and the PC wasn't able to keep up. So once I stuck it on the Acer, SSI 3000 or something, everything started to work and it was fine. Now that I've got this other laptop here, I think that's a slightly higher spec again. I think it's about 2.2 gig, 80 gig RAM, standard with 2 gig of RAM in there. It's actually DDR2. I think it was even older than that on the other PC. DDR2 667, something like that. Slightly larger drive. The other one's had like a 30 or 40. This has got an 80. I recognise that I'm going to need to have some more drive space than that for imaging. But initially, in addition to doing some solar stuff, some planet imaging with the NextImage, I'm also going to use the T5i, which I'm shooting on now. Alright, let's get down to this. I'm going to just open up what I've got here. Now, I do understand that I probably could have just used some image capture software to show you what I'm doing on the PC, but I've got the camera out and frankly don't have the time to get around to doing it properly with the house move coming up. But I know how much this frustrated me, and hopefully this will help with anybody that's trying to get around to it. Now there's a quick shot of all the stuff that I've got there, and we're going to go through and we're going to install this in a fairly specific order, and again you may be able to do this in a different order, but this is what worked for me. So you can see the ASCOM platform there. We need that because we're going to use that for connecting to PhD. I believe that requires the ASCOM platform and the ASCOM drivers. Again, you got to note that we're going to install 2 lots of drivers here. So what we're going to install is a number of different things. We're going to install the where are we? The native drivers here. We're going to do the QHY5 driver or DRV64. That caused me a bit of grief. This was actually the driver that I was avoiding. I couldn't find anything else other than the native drivers and the ASCOM drivers, thinking that that was 64-bit and the laptops are only 32-bit. But when I eventually grabbed it and installed it, that was the key to the whole issue. I'm hoping this is staying in relative focus for you. Then we're going to go install the update, the QHY5 update. All these are taken from the QHY CCD website. And then we're going to go and install the ASCOM drivers, but we'll actually stick the ASCOM platform on, and then we're going to go install PhD, and hopefully by the end of it I'm going to be able to show you at least set up and running and connecting to the camera. When I eventually get around to installing all the other stuff for the EQ6 and doing some guiding, etc., I'll make sure to take you along for the journey as well. So hopefully this is going to be fairly straightforward and it's going to work. Otherwise I'm going to have to trash the whole video. Alright, here we go. Now, first piece of advice is don't stick your camera in before you've installed all this. Just run all your installations, do all your drivers, do your updates, all that sort of stuff. Wait until the the final step is going to be plugging in the camera. Okay, so here we go. We're looking for the native. Sorry, it's just hard to see it looking through the camera. So here we go. Native drivers. There we go. And a QHY5 DRV64. So if you need to Google, that'll help. And get that kicked off. Okay, and the QHY5 update. These are all should be available from the actual manufacturer's website. Come on. There we go. Okay, so next I'm going to install the ASCOM platform and get that running, and then we'll install the ASCOM drivers as well. Okay, here's an error that has got me on all 4 PCs, and every time I run it, I go, that's right, I forgot to do that. You can see there's an error saying Microsoft.NET Framework 4.0 or later is required for this, and Microsoft Visual C++ runtime is also required. You'll actually find that you just need to go and install the .NET Framework, and the Microsoft Visual will actually install as part of the installation process for ASCOM. So let's just jump over to Google. Okay, and that's just what I searched for, framework.net, and it's the latest version 4.5. The top response there is Microsoft. We can go there. Okay, and that's just what I searched for, framework.net, and it's the latest version 4.5. The top response there is Microsoft. We can go there. They're going to offer us a bunch of other downloads. I'm just going to go for number 2, .NET Framework 4.5. Click on that. Okay, and there she is. I'm going to go and click on download. It's going to offer some other software here. Malicious software removal, which I think you get as part of your updates anyway. Internet Explorer. I use Firefox anyway. I'm going to go over down here and it says no thanks. Let's just continue. And there it is. It's going to save it to desktop. Now, what you're basically downloading is just the installer. So I'm going to shut some stuff down here. Going to cancel the ASCOM platform install, because we need to do this first. Don't need that up there anymore. And there it is. .NET FX45 is the file. We're going to run that. Now that's going to take a few minutes, because it's actually going to go to the web and download some additional stuff. It'll take a few minutes. Once we've got that installed, we'll go back and we'll get back up to date on the ASCOM stuff. And we're back, and we're just installing the ASCOM platform. As you can see, your system lacks the following prerequisites for installation. The .NET Framework is now gone. This installer will install Visual C++. So you'll see that we don't need to go and track that down for ourselves. The platform's actually going to install it for us, and we're just going to go, yeah, we're all good with that. Do your best and just let it run. Now this will actually take a few minutes to get sorted out, so we'll come back in a sec. Okay, so I've got the platform installed. I am going to install the QHY5 ASCOM V40, which I believe is just version 40. I don't think I need to install the one above that, because I think that's the older version. So let's go and slap that on. And of course we agree to all their rubbish and get that installed and done. And I think that's about all we need to do. Alright, let's go and I'm just going to go and chuck on PhD 2. Okay, we've got PhD 2 installed. Just about to plug in the guider. Just got to find the USB socket. There we go. That's a good noise. There you notice it'll install. It says installing the driver there for QHY5, so that's good news. All installed successfully. Alright, so that's good news. I couldn't even get that far initially. It just would not recognise the camera, but once I got those what appeared to be 64-bit drivers, we're away. Now let's just bring this down a little bit. I need to go down to this little camera icon here and click on that. I hope this is reasonably focused. Now what you actually do is you'll notice when you go to the camera selector here and go drop down, you'll notice that it actually comes up. Sorry, you'll actually notice that it comes up there with the ASCOM drivers. If you haven't installed the ASCOM drivers, you're not going to see the QHY5 on that list at all. So if you've just installed the normal QHY5 drivers, it'll install, you'll plug it in, it'll look like everything, but you're not going to see it in your PhD2. So once you install your ASCOM drivers for the QHY5, you're going to then see it appear on that list. If it doesn't appear on the list, what you're going to do once you've installed the ASCOM drivers, you're going to go up the top to, just bear with me, ASCOM camera chooser here, which is your top option. You're going to hit that, and then hopefully from the drop down menu you're going to see the QHY listed there. You will see some of the newer stuff listed below, but again, as it's an older camera and the support's getting less and less, there's a few more tricks involved to get it to happen. So let's go down here and go there, and when you initially set it up and go connect, it's always going to ask you to have a look at the properties, and when you hit connect as well, you're actually going to see that it actually we'll see there, it actually installs the drivers again. Now what I think it actually doing is installing the ASCOM drivers. So it actually will do it twice. When you first install it, it'll install the native drivers, I think. Then you go and run it and disconnect it, run it and connect it in PhD2, and because the PhD2 uses the ASCOM drivers, it's going to reinstall it, or it'll look like it's reinstalling down here in the corner. Don't freak out when it does that, that's just what it does. And you can see down here it says camera, which means we're now connected as far as PhD2 goes. We're going to close that. Now what else you've got to do down here, and this is why the compact wouldn't actually work. When you're ready to guide, you set it up, you plug it in into your telescope, you have it all set up, and then you go down here, and what this actually does is loops the view of the camera. So I'll actually start taking some images, and that's when you'll see your stars start to appear, and then you can start having a look at guiding. So let's just click on that, and you'll see the light on the back of the camera has come on. Now we've got that set to 1 second exposures. I'm not sure if you can see that, just where the cursor is, and you can see that screen's going to refresh about every second, give or take, and you'll see the light on the back of the camera there flashing. So every time it loops and takes an image, there's your flash there. So effectively what we've got there is, obviously depending on how dark your sky is, and you can change the gain on the camera, is going to depend on how long you're going to need to change this here, as to how long the exposures are going to be. So if it's not working and you're doing 1 second, just hit that, change it up to 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, whatever you think you need. Give it a bit of time, and have another look. Now just going to jump over to the camera. There's the flash, which means it's updating the image for you, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, flash. There she goes. So that's now doing 4 second exposures. You can up that all the way up to about 15 seconds, I think. There we go. Or you can put it on auto. Let's just stick it on 1 second here, because I actually want you to see. We'll flip that camera up, and we'll take the cap off, and so you can see that that's working. Like, that's now pointing at the white ceiling, pointing at the computer screen, keeping in mind that this is not going to focus on anything. Obviously everything's too bright for that, because the gain's up at about 50%, and obviously this is fairly sensitive because it wants to work with dark skies. We'll pop the cap back on, and you can see she goes dark. So take the cap off, and you'll see it's updating every second. Cap back on. There you go. And that's what you can expect to see when you go out and you start to shine at the stars. Point it at the stars. It's going to start doing these regular images. So because we've got the loop selected here, if you're not seeing stars, just up your exposure, up the time, up the time, up the time, till you start to see something on your screen. If that's not working, you've also got the other option. I'm just going to go down the bottom here and stop it. When you go into your camera icon down the bottom here, the same as we did for setting it up, you can't do this whilst it's connected, so you'll need to disconnect the camera. Go into the little tool menu here, or camera setup it says. We'll go and have a look at that. And you've got some gain options on the camera. At this point I can't tell you what settings to use. I've just left it on about 50%, and initially that worked for me. Again, the PCs weren't really up to the task, so hopefully this one's going to work better and I'm going to have a bit more success. I did have some issues as well as far as focus, finding the focus point, etc. You know, I installed the 2-inch diagonal, 1-inch diagonal. Actually found the 1-inch worked better for me, and I was able to get a focus. But you'll have to play around with that, and that's going to obviously depend on your equipment. Okay, so that's it as far as the QHY5, installing that and getting it to run on PhD2. Let's jump over now and go and have a look at this NextImage solar imager. Again, there's a little trick with that, and give me a sec and we'll get it set up. Now, those of you with a keen eye will notice that I also have this SPC, let me get in there a bit, SPC 900 NC drivers. Now, as far as the NextImage goes, I was beating myself over the head trying to find some drivers. I stumbled onto a forum, astronomy forum, and they actually said that the webcam, which is the Philips SPC 900NC, actually has the same internals, same chip or something inside the cam. So what we'll actually do is go and install this, and we're actually going to use that to get the NextImage going. So just bear with me. We'll hook that up. We'll run the drivers here. And then I'll show you that little trick that I mentioned earlier to get it to work. Okay, so here we go. We're going to install we're going to plug in the camera, and we're going to watch what it does down here. Installing, and you'll see that it wasn't able to install the drivers. So even though it has the same internals, it doesn't identify the camera, which is a royal pain in the neck. Now, if you're nifty with computers and know how to get in the control panel and go into the device manager, do that. If you don't, basically what you're going to want to do is go into your start menu, go into your control panel, and assuming you're using Windows 7, we're going to go to hardware and sound here. And then you're going to go to the top right and go to device manager. Oops, we clicked that twice. We probably don't need two of those open. We'll get rid of one of those. And you're going to see just there, it's going to show up on other devices, and it's going to say an unknown device. Now we right click on that. Going to go to update driver software. Now don't panic about this if you're not real savvy on the computers. Literally just follow this step by step, and it's a walk in the park. Now we're going to go to browse my computer for driver software. We're going to go to down the bottom there. We're not going to change any of these options at the top. Just going to go down to the bottom, and we're going to say let me pick from the list of device drivers on my computer. Now you can always use this option if you know what you're trying to install, you know the manufacturer. In theory your drivers are going to be somewhere on the PC if you're using Windows 7 or if you've installed them. The problem is Windows 7 is not understanding what the device is, and it's saying, look, I really don't get it. You're going to have to point me to the drivers. Now we know we've got them because we've just installed them, so we're going to go let me pick. Now here's the tricky part. Normally you would expect to see it probably under imaging devices or something like that. There's imaging devices there, but it's not. Again, a trick I picked up from just a forum. Thanks very much. I can't remember the guy's name. Go down here to sound, video and game controllers. Click on that. It's going to open up, and it's going to ask you for the manufacturer. Now in this instance, like I said, we're doing the Philips one. Scroll that all the way down to the left, and it's actually Philips CE-CSI. So CE-CSI, Philips CE-CSI. Click on that, highlight that. It's going to give us some options over on the right hand side. Now in this instance we're not actually using the Philips camera, so this one doesn't have a camera on board, so sorry, it doesn't have a microphone or audio, so that just leaves us with that top option there. We'll select that, we're going to go next. It's going to say, yeah, we don't recommend this, we don't like it, blah blah blah. We're going to say, oh look, we don't care. We're going to take it on, so yes. Going to start saying it's installing it. Just give that a minute to do its thing. And there we go. It says it's happy with that, and I'll install it. Now, if you're going to take this on and have a go at this for other devices, sorry about that, if you're going to take this on and do this for other devices, just make sure you know what the actual device is, because effectively you can install, or we're installing manually here, and we're pretty much forcing Windows just to take on any driver we pointed at. So just make sure you double check and you've got a little bit of an idea what you're doing there. Okay, so there we go. Again, that's installed. We're going to plug the camera back in, find the USB port in the corner. There we go. Sounds promising. Alright, so no issues there. Okay, so what I've actually done is gone ahead and installed MCAP rather than the WX capture. Same. Now what you'll actually see if you go up to your devices here in the corner, hopefully you can see that. Now you'll actually see the Philips, which is the NextImage that we've got installed because we use the Philips 900 drivers, so it's identifying it as such. Same, all your settings are the same. It's also, sorry, let me hold that still for you. It's also identifying the QHY5 there as an option for imaging, or for image capture, and you'll see it's actually got the native drivers there as well. So so the reason that is, and the reason I explained earlier, that you need to install the standard drivers for the QHY5, and you need to install the ASCOM stuff as well. Anything that's using the ASCOM platform, i.e. PhD2, is going to use the ASCOM drivers, and anything that you're going to use that's not ASCOM, for example the AMCAP or any capture software, it's going to be reliant on the standard drivers. So make sure you've got those installed, otherwise you won't see it here. You probably could get away with just installing the ASCOM drivers if you're just going to use it as a guider, but again, this is what's worked for me. Yeah, try it, see whether it works, leave me a message. Anyway, so we've got the Philips installed, we've got it on full screen. Here's the camera here, and we're going to just take a hand off the lens, point it up there, and so you can actually see that's working. So we're in. That's pretty much it. Hopefully that's been helpful to anybody who's been running into the same issues as me, whether it be with the NextImage or whether it's been with the QHY5 and trying to get it installed on Windows 7 or any laptop for that matter. Sorry about that, I had to put that on manual focus because it was giving me the shits with the lights and stuff. So anyway, that's it. Any questions, certainly shoot me a message and I'll do my best to help. Again, this is just what's worked for me. If you run into the same problems, you know, it's going to take you multiple forums to find some answers that work for you. So I was trying to put it all together in one video. I know it's going to be a little bit long. It's going to be cut fairly roughly as well, but hopefully that'll work for you. Again, thanks for stopping by. If you've got, I'd really love to see more of this type of stuff on YouTube. Unfortunately, there's not a heap of instructional stuff in relation to astronomy. You know, you might see some guys with their new telescopes and their mounts, and they spin it around for about 30 seconds and they don't talk to you or anything like that. It'd be great if other people could share their experiences, share their knowledge. You know, tell us what's worked for them, what hasn't worked for them, more importantly, to stop us going through the same steps, and you know, maybe we can all meet there at the end with a little bit of success. So yeah, great. Yeah, you got telescopes, guys. You know, link me, let me know. Do a video on them, do a review, even if you don't know that much about them. You know, me included, us guys and the other people that are out there scrounging YouTube for videos. You know, you get hungry, you want to see this sort of stuff. It doesn't have to be highly technical. Just jump up and say what you thought about it. You know, is it a good scope? Is it a bad scope? You talk about your equipment. This is obviously like amateur radio that I do as well. It's one of those hobbies that you can evolve in, and you can spend as little or as much money as you want. Obviously, imaging starts to cost you that little bit extra, but I'm doing this relatively cheaply. So hopefully, once I get around to setting up the EQ6, we'll have another talk, and I'll show you how the processes are going there and share some of the experiences. Okay, thanks for now. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Enjoy your day.